We're going to look at preventing users from changing supplier bank details, changing or entering supplier bank details. This is a feature that came out in Sage 200 spring 2019, specifically version 12.00.0031. We can check our version in versions 12 by clicking the cog tools menu about Sage 200. So you can see I'm using version 12.00.0035. So just to repeat, the feature we're going to talk about came in 0.0031. So if we're on 3.1 or later, then we have this feature. I'm on purchase ledger supplier list. I have a supplier selected. If I choose amend account, then we'll see I have the bank tab available to me, which means I can change these details for this supplier. So if we want to prevent me or other users from having this access to change the bank details, what we're going to do is I'm going to close my Sage 200, and we need to run a program called Sage 200 System Administration. So I need to be an administrator. I have a shortcut here, but just to show, I'm going to go through to my apps and roll across to Sage. So onto Sage UK, the Sage 200 System Administration program. This is what we're after. Just let this load. There we go. So that's logged on. So first thing to identify is users and roles. When we're turning on or off features in Sage 200, we do that by what's called a role. And a role can be linked to one or a group of users. So I'm interested in me, and it's member of. So if I've selected users, I can see me, and I'm a member of. These are roles. I'm a member of the role called Account Plus. There may be other users associated with this same role. So what I'm about to do would affect all of those users. For this knowledge base article, we're not going to look at users or roles, but we will do a separate knowledge base article about managing users and roles separately. If you need help at this point, the help desk here will be pleased to guide you about roles and users. But having noted the role that I'm interested in, it's called Account Plus. I'm going to click the next option down on the left called Roles. There's my role for Account Plus. I'm going to right click and select Features. So when we're looking at features for the role I've selected, where I've got gaps, where there are no ticks, then I know that somewhere in there something has been turned off. For what we're interested in, I'm going to open the purchase ledger, open Advanced, and the option at the very top says Bank Details. That tick box means that members of the Accounts Plus role have the option to enter or amend purchase ledger bank details. I'm going to untick, click OK, and close my system administration program. If I now go back into Sage 200, select my company, and I'll go to purchase ledger, supplier list, select a supplier, do the same as I did before, amend account. What we now see is there is no bank tab. So for me, I can no longer get to those supplier bank details to change them. Equally, if I was to select new account, to create a new supplier account, There is no bank tab there for me. I cannot enter or change supplier bank account details. If I want to see, just inquire on the bank details, the best way to do that is under, we can do it through workspaces or under purchase inquiries, where we've got these circular items. These are workspaces, so I can do it straight from the purchase ledger. So if I use my workspace for supplier accounts, when that loads, so I can choose a supplier. The next panel down, the second panel, is default to contacts. I can change that so I can see bank here. So I change that to bank. So if I click on Atlas Rangers, my supplier, these are the supplier bank. I can't change them here, but I can see them. And then equally, I can click on other suppliers if we want to see their details as well. Most importantly, I can't change them. A couple of other hints and tips, certainly for the users, our supported users. If we go under Accounting System Manager and Settings, at the bottom of the Settings menu, these are 2 free add-ons that we would install for our users. So if you don't have these 2 items, if you want to contact the help desk here, if you're on version 12, we will load them for you. The first one is called Admin View Roles Info. It's an inquiry, and what it's used for is to show you the roles, recognize the role Account Plus, the users assigned to those roles, and features that are not enabled. So I can see now that for that role which I'm part of, bank details is something which is not enabled, and that's what I want to check. So I might want to use this inquiry to check, is it turned on or off for other roles. There's a document that describes more about these. Are also items we would recommend maybe turning off, not usually items that users need to have access to. You can ask us for a document which talks you through where these can be found in the features and why we'd recommend them to be turned on or off. If we have a role where this grid is full, the export to Excel will actually give us the full list of features not enabled, so that might be useful. We want to use this item to also help me to make sure I've got everything turned on that I would want to have switched on for me or for other users. Close that. And then the bottom item says User Admin Inquiry. CPS is for Centrepoint Software. I click on this inquiry. This is telling me who is a Sage 200 administrator. So we saw earlier that to turn that feature off needed me to log into Sage 200 System Administration. And this inquiry tells me who, by saying true, who has access to run that program. So if it's not me, where would I go? Who would I go to? Who can run that program to change those features? We'll close that. So I hope that's helpful for you to see about managing who can change supplier bank details. Thank you.